in the United States. 20 years ago, there were 2 million college freshmen. This year, there's almost 2.5 million. What you need to understand, though, is in these 20 years, there haven't been a whole lot of new colleges built in the United States. There haven't been a whole lot more spaces in the freshman class. So again, don't want to beat a dead horse here. I just want everyone to understand that if when you first came to USC, your idea was that, hey, everybody got in. That was probably a good perception if you were first here 20 or 25 years ago. Anymore, it is not the case. Oh, and to answer one of those other questions, yes, your employee status absolutely helps. What these data simply show is over the last 5 years, in the freshman applicant pool, the average admit rate has been about 24%. The average admit rate of employee children has been 37%. It's been actually about 50% higher. Same thing holds true with the transfers. Over the last 5 years, the average admit rate at USC was 26%, and the average admit rate for employees, children of employees, is 37%. It does matter. The children of USC faculty and staff are one subgroup of our applicant pool that get into USC at about the highest rates. You'd be hard-pressed to find any other specific group of students who are getting into USC at this rate. The problem is, we can't admit everyone. We can't even admit everyone who is the child of a faculty or staff member. This is a competitive process, and we'll get more into that. So, one of the things that we distributed right here, and I hope you all got a copy, is a brochure that we published called Preparing for USC. And most of this information is on the website. I think this is a great, great tool. And one of the things you're going to find when you look at this publication is that it is full of common sense. There isn't much in here that you might not have thought of on your own. And this is a theme that I want you all to take away. Much of the idea of preparing for college, much of the idea about getting into colleges is based on common sense. There's no great secret that's going to be revealed to you. A lot of this is common sense. And if there's one takeaway, I want you to know that the best way to prepare for college, the best way to get into college, is through the curriculum that your son or daughter chooses. All right? Curriculum, curriculum, curriculum. I will tell you whether or not you're thinking about USC, whether you're thinking about UCLA, or Stanford, or Notre Dame, or NYU, or Cal State Northridge, it's all about finding and taking the right curriculum. Now I gotta tell you, I know that many families don't have a choice as to where their children go to high school. Colleges understand this. So some of you are able to send your children to some of the most elite prep schools that exist in the country. And some of you are sending your children to public high schools that are woefully underserved. And a lot of you are probably right in the middle. What I'm here to tell you is don't worry as much about that as you worry about what your son or daughter is doing with the resources that are available to them. What we're talking about here is as you work with your sons and daughters and their counselors, if they have them, for choosing classes, it's better to take the more challenging curriculum. Don't take the easy way out. You know, sometimes people say, well, you know, gosh, if I have a 4.0, I'm golden. You know, we don't, colleges don't look at that GPA and just say, okay, 4.0 straight A's, you're in. It matters what courses you've taken. I always think about it this way. When it comes time for your child to be at a crossroads, they're thinking about next year's classes. Well, I can either do these 6 academic courses, or I can do these 4 academic courses, maybe take a period off, and maybe be a TA for another period. Well, the choice is pretty clear. You've got to take the more challenging, the more rigorous curriculum. Our faculty want to see this. Admission committees want to see this. There's never a good excuse for holding back on that. Now, that doesn't mean taking 7 AP courses in a year and getting straight C's. I mean, there needs to be some thought given to what the student can handle. You know, the obvious question that we always get asked is it better, you know, to get an A in a regular course or a B in an honors or an AP course? And we all know the answer to that, don't we? You get an A in an honors course, exactly. You know, there are lots and lots of people out there in that applicant pool of 37,000 that apply to USC that have done that, okay? These aren't just people who are taking the easy courses. We've got a lot of people doing that. Curriculum matters. So what we've got up on the screen, you will actually find right here in this brochure. It's sort of right as you open the flap. What we've suggested here is a pretty straightforward college prep curriculum. It's English, literature, all 4 years. All right? It's math. It says 3 to 4 years. Let me tell you, it's math 4 years. I don't care if your daughter wants to be a literature major or your son's an artist. Take math all 4 years. It's going to prepare them better for college. It's going to be more impressive in a college admissions setting. Now, of course, not all students have strengths in all subjects. And certainly colleges think about, and Kirk might get into this in a moment, think about how students are working and pushing themselves and showing persistence. Foreign language, we'd like to see 2 years. 3 years is better. A lot of your sons and daughters are taking 4 years. It's important because many of them will have this requirement in college. We talk about sciences, 2 to 4 years, history and social science. I mean, you can read this, electives. Basically, what your sons and daughters ought to be working towards is every semester taking at least 5 academic solid courses, often 6. If the high school offers honors courses or AP courses or international baccalaureate courses, even better. But basically, whatever the school is, whatever the curriculum is, the students ought to be trying to take whatever the highest level that's available to them is. Now, this isn't to say that there isn't room for things that are non-academic. In fact, we expect students to be playing sports, doing music, perhaps doing leadership. There's value in those things, so don't get me wrong. We're not just talking about students solely thinking about those hard academic courses. But this, what you see here, should pretty much be considered by all of you to be minimum. Now, I've also got to tell you, this isn't too much beyond what most high schools in California require for graduation, so this isn't revolutionary. And I know some of you are at schools where your sons and daughters are going to be doing more than this. But use this as a minimum. You know, even if math is a struggle, and for a lot of people it is, having those 4 years of math really just will set your sons and daughters apart. Make a plan. You know, I know about 1/3 of you in the room, looking at the list, have sons and daughters who are applying this year. So in some ways, what's done is done. Okay, so maybe what I'm talking about right now is not going to matter as much. And you can breathe easy. I mean, you have other things to worry about. Okay, but for the others of you, there is still lots of time. So make a plan. A lot of social science and education research actually shows that a college trajectory can be traced back pretty directly as early as 4th grade. And I mean, even before that, depending on what kind of research you want to look at. But 4th grade, well, I'm not going to get crazy. Let's start thinking about 8th and 9th grade. You know, if your sons and daughters can take algebra in the 8th grade, that's great. Because what that's going to allow them to do is if they move forward in the regular fashion, they'll beat a calculus by their senior year in high school. And again,